On certificates, we usually see the date and place of birth of people, but we don't know, we don't see how or the circumstances in which they were born. Our 6 children were born in quite different circumstances. So let's have a look. First of all, Maria Zoe, thanks to my persistent mother, was planned to be born in my mother's house, the old rectory in Blandford St Mary, Dorset. It was quite a good decision, really, because 2 midwives were available and a doctor as well, and a nice brass bed where the firstborn of several generations had come to life. Everything went well, and what I can remember about it is that at one stage I was sent by the midwife out into the garden to bury the placenta, and also that I had 1 or 2 glasses of whiskey to keep my patients while the operation took place. Gian Marino was very different. We just arrived in Rome and we booked a private clinic. On the day assigned, we turned up and we were told, sorry, no room in the inn, a bit like in the Bible. So they sent us to the local public hospital. And in Italy in the 1960s, the health service was not fully developed. However, we arrived and I asked if we could have a private room. Certainly, yes, that would be 2 million lire. Now, I didn't have 2 million lire on me. So Nonna was taken to a ward with 6 or 7 other women. I wasn't allowed in. I phoned up our doctor and he said, don't worry, go round the back of the hospital and ask for Roberto. Make sure you give him 1,000 lire and he'll get you up to Marina's bed. This I did. And in all, it was quite an interesting experience, but not to be repeated, I think. One of the things we remember is that there were no sheets and no cutlery. We asked the nurses why, and they said, because people take them home with them after the birth. Anyway, we tried to be a bit more careful when Alex arrived, and we booked a clinic only 200 meters from our house, the Clinica Santa Anna, just across the road from Via Tirso. The day Alex arrived, it was snowing in Rome. Unusual. About every 5 years it snows and there's no provision for snow clearance. Everyone just goes home and doesn't go to work. Well, doctors did, luckily. And so Alex was born, I was able to be present, and I didn't go to work the next day. Annabella was rather the same, in the same clinic. And then we moved to Formello, out in the country, 15, 20 miles from the center of Rome. We were sitting in a flea pit cinema near Prima Porta in the suburbs of Rome, watching The Man with the Golden Gun, when Nonna said, I think Amapollo's arriving. But let's see the end of the film first. So we waited, we saw the end of the film, we drove into Rome. Amapollo was born, and 3 or 4 days later, on the way back, Nonna said, I wouldn't mind doing that again. A good response, I think. And then Charlie, our favorite and very trusted doctor, Dr. Camilli, had moved hospitals onto the Via Noventana. And the journey from Our house in Formello, the Via Noventana, was quite long. And he was number 6, so was off the blocks almost immediately. We jumped in the car and drove round the Raccordo Anulare. I got Nonna to wave a white handkerchief out the window, and that allowed us to overtake people driving in the middle of the road, and we finally reached the hospital. 15 minutes later, we had number 6. It was only later that we learned that the clinic in which Charlie was born was the same place in which King Juan Carlos of Spain had been born in 1938, when his parents had been exiled from Spain during the